Alright, what's going on, guys? This is Manelgi, and today I just wanted to share my thoughts on the Sacrifice quest in Warframe, the newly released quest, long anticipated quest. But before we get started here, I just want to make a real quick apology for this video because I kind of forgot to record my playthrough, so that was a pretty sweet derp. But since the quest isn't replayable and I have no real desire to hijack other people's footage, yeah, we're just gonna kind of be stuck watching Umbra run around doing some Umbra shit for a little bit. So hopefully you can bear with that. And also, it kind of goes without saying, there's gonna be some like massive spoilers in this video. So if you haven't already played the Sacrifice and all the quests leading up to it, like the Second Dream and the War Within, the Chains of Harrow, and all that, click off the video right now. Just click it off, go play those quests, and then come back and watch. Alright, so first up, let's talk about the story and some of the stuff we learn throughout the quest. So I thought, first of all, the story was really good, really well written. I've seen some criticism about it, but to be honest with you, I thought it was like super bang on. The lore and the storytelling and the writing was on point. The music was really good. Couple spots really kind of kick you right in the feels, if you know what I'm saying. It was pretty intense at some of those points. But I thought it was really well done, so congratulations to D on that one. I thought that was really impressive work. Now in this quest, we kind of get, I guess, some confirmation of a lot of the sort of theories and sort of ideas that have been kind of going around the Warframe lore community for a long time now, in terms of like the origin of the Warframes, like what they are, where they came from, and all that kind of stuff. We always kind of knew, basically, but this quest basically solidified that and said, yeah, for sure, this is canon, this is lore, this is how it works. So, spoiler, so the lore, or the Warframes rather, are basically, you know, soldiers that they've taken, some of the more elite soldiers, and they've infected them with the virus, and presumably they've done other things too. They probably, you know, grafted and melded, you know, particular designs of the frame around them, or maybe that was built right into the virus itself in order to shape itself into the particular Warframe. That, you know, that's open to interpretation. But the point is, the virus is engineered somewhat, and so it's basically they infect their soldiers, they become the Warframes. And of course, the whole point of that was to fight against the sentients, who were constantly using the Orcans' technology against them in the war. So we kind of knew that too. So that's cool that they sort of kind of reiterated that. And the whole part about how they sent the sentients to the Tau system to colonize it, and then they ended up, you know, turning on them and stuff. So again, all stuff we kind of knew, but it was really nice to finally have some kind of cemented lore. Because the funny thing about Warframe is the lore is really good, but it's kind of all over the place, and so much of it is so open to interpretation. Very little of it has actually been like straight up, like confirm, this is what it is. Very little of the lore is like that. It's all very sort of ambiguous, but so every now and then it's kind of nice to have something completely solidified like that. So I really did appreciate that. Now, that being said, for all the things that the quest went back and confirmed, it probably opened up 50 more questions, right? So it was really good in terms of, you know, where the Warframes came from, who are they, what are the sentients all about, you know, the Tenno and their involvement. So it was really clear there. But when it came to the whole sort of drama of Nata and Lotus and Margulis and Ballas, that whole sort of dynamic there, based on sort of what happened in the Apostasy prologue at the end, I was expecting this quest to dive a little bit deeper into that sort of area of things. Like, obviously it mentioned it, right? But I thought it was gonna like dive real deep into that, and it didn't really. It touched on it, but it didn't really go deep into it. This wasn't really the Margulis Lotus quest, I mean, despite the ending, but I feel this quest was about Umbra. This is an Umbra quest. That's what it was. The quest was very heavily focused around Umbra and his origins. And Ballas and, you know, Lotus and Nata, Margulis, whatever. Margulis wasn't even in it, really, which I found surprising. But Lotus and Nata, that was kind of a supporting cast, I guess you might say, to go around this ultimately Umbra story, which is surprising because I feel like I heard just recently that the idea to throw Umbra into this quest was kind of a last minute decision. They kind of rewrote the quest around Umbra. They had something else planned. Yeah, so I thought it was really good, though I don't want to say disappointed, because the quest was badass on every level in my opinion, but I feel I would have liked to have known more and seen a little bit more information and you know, lore and backstory to like what is going on between this whole interaction between, like I said, Ballas, Margulis, Lotus, Nata, that whole thing. Like I really want to know more about what happened there. But I mean, that's just me. Everybody's got their own sort of opinion on that. But that's kind of how I felt about that sort of thing. I really, really liked the way they showed it too, with that little memory box or whatever. I can't remember what they called it, the Vitruvian or something like that or whatever. I thought that was really, really cool. When I first opened that thing up, I was looking like, oh crap, this is a sweet puzzle. And then, well, obviously it wasn't, but it was a really interesting way of showing it. And I like how they kept cutting back and forth to that, and going back to the Umbra's memories or whatever. I thought that was really, really, really clever way of doing it. The voice and the sound. I mean, when you're in those sequences, when you're living through Umbra's eyes or whatever, that poor bastard Dax's eyes, you hear him kind of like screaming and groaning and grunting and making all these hideous noises. You can like feel his pain. So they did a pretty bang up job with the sound design there. So yeah, mad props to the sound team for that one. Speaking of sound, holy shit, that music, right? Like, holy crap. Some of the music in this quest was like freaking on point. Really, really, really on point. I thought that was really well done. Especially with some of those scenes involving the end part there with Umbra, where you kind of, you know, sit down and have your little hoo-ha at the end where you end up melding with him or whatever. I thought that was pretty intense. That music fit perfectly. And yeah, so they completely nailed that. I really like the way they did that. It was kind of funny. I've watched quite a few streams to see people's reactions and how they sort of gauge the quest. And it was really interesting to see everybody's take on it. Like, everybody had a wildly different opinion on what was going on. It was so funny. Like, for example, that picture on the wall, like the Dax guy being made into an Umbra. Spoiler, that's not Teshin. That's not Teshin. I've watched a few streams like, oh, hey, cool, it's Teshin. I don't get it because he's like still alive in the relay and all that stuff. But anyway, it's like, nope, that's not Teshin. And just like, you know, little things like that. I thought it was kind of funny like that. But it was neat to see everybody's reaction. But yeah, I thought that was really well done, the way they integrated Umbra and they sort of brought him in. And I thought it was really well done, really good story element there. Now, we can't talk about this quest without talking about that ending, though. Damn. So, alright. So basically, Lotus goes back to being Nata. This is kind of what I'm getting out of it. So, Lotus goes back to being Nata, I guess. And she answers the call of her sentient family and freaking hoofs it back to the Tau system, I suppose. I thought that was a pretty sweet reveal of her actual form. It was sort of horrifying and hideous, but it still showed like her kind of face or whatever. I thought that was really, really cool how they did that. And I've got to say, there's a lot of criticism, like I said before, surrounding this quest, and a lot of people are really unhappy about the ending and the fact that we didn't get Space Mom back and all that. But if you think about it, like some like lovey-dovey reunion with Space Mom where it's all happy and, you know, roses and shit, that would have been cringy as all hell, and it would have been a sellout ending, honestly. You know, an ending just for the sake of, you know, fan service, giving them what they want, as opposed to telling their story and being true to their lore, true to their story, and say, well, you know, this is what the players want in their heart of hearts versus this is what would happen, should happen, to keep driving the story forward. So I'm glad they had the strength to, you know, and the audacity and the courage to do that decision and not sell out and totally like nail that ending. That's like the least sellout ending I've seen in a while. So yeah, again, mad props to D on that too. I really like the way they did that, and it was really fun watching people's reactions to that and how they thought of that. And a lot of people were like, oh my god, no. Other people were like, fuck yeah. So it was an interesting blend of you know, of opinions on that, but my opinion is well done. I love it. I mean, yeah, like I said, it'd be cool. You know, it's kind of weird. We haven't had Space Mom around for a while. It's been kind of weird, and by the looks of things, it's gonna be a while yet. But who knows? Maybe she won't come back at all. Maybe it'll be something completely weird. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's gonna blow our minds. Every quest always does. But my sort of suspicion of what's gonna happen now is, basically, I think the next sort of arc of expansions, or not expansions, sorry, the next arc of like cinematic story quests, I think we're gonna start to explore the Tau system, possibly. I think that's where this is kind of going, and they've hinted at that a few times. You know, adding more to the star map, exploring other star systems, that kind of thing. That's been hinted at, so I think this is kind of their golden opportunity to do that, and I just get the feeling that's where we're headed right now, and that's totally fine by me. Which kind of leads into one other thing. Let's talk about the actual Umbra frame. So, that Umbra frame, first of all, freaking awesome. I'm that guy who never cared about Umbra. all this time. Everybody's like, oh my god, Umbra. Nobody had any idea what Umbra was, but everybody was so hyped for Umbra anyway. It's like, okay, well, whatever. I was that guy who didn't care up until I played the quest. Now I love Umbra. And I also, like, Excalibur was like my least used frame in the whole game. Like, I just don't play him. I just don't never found him that interesting. But after playing Umbra for a while and watching streams of people using the Umbra and seeing how they use them and getting all these kind of ideas and, you know, just tricks and things, the way to use them and stuff, now I'm like hardcore Umbra. Loving the way he plays. So basically he's got mods, special Umbra mods, which have all these interesting sentient focused properties such as Tau resist, which we're assuming is resistance against sentient damage, right? And he's got other mods for his weapons, which are extra damage towards sentient. So he's clearly a sentient hunter frame, and so that does logically make sense that, you know, we're probably going to be fighting more and more sentients, and so it just kind of ties into this whole going to the, I guess, the Tau system and kind of exploring that and investigating that. So I suspect what's going to happen at TennoCon is that they're probably going to sort of reveal and show the Venus update. Well, I'm probably not going to release it, but they're going to show it at least in a decent state. And I think the big quote-unquote reveal at TennoCon is probably going to be revealing the Tau system and what they're working on there. So that's probably that super secret thing that they were planning on doing. Anyway, guys, that's what I thought of the quest. I really enjoyed it. So this video is kind of all over the place, but I didn't want to script this one. I just wanted to sort of like get it out and just speak about it, totally unscripted and all that stuff. So let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of the quest. Did you like it? Do you think I'm way off base with my take on it, how I'm sort of analyzing it? What do you think happened? What do you think of it? Where are we going next? Let me know in the comments below. But I think that's going to be it for now. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.